Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to In the Kitchen with B2B Leads. Now today we have a really great recipe for you today. We're going to be talking all about the perfect LinkedIn profile recipe. So all centered around how you can generate more leads through LinkedIn by having the right profile recipe. Now a lot of people feel like there's only one special recipe, one exact formula that you need to follow to get everything right and to generate more leads on LinkedIn. But this is not the case. It really depends on what ingredients you have on hand. You might be a new business, you might be really well established and have tons of credibility and qualifications and things that you can use in your recipe to generate the perfect profile. It really depends on what you need to put more or less in order to have the perfect profile recipe. So we're going to be going through all that and more detail and share some great ones that we've prepared earlier for you as well. I look forward to sharing them with you right now. All right, so we first take a look at what a LinkedIn profile actually is. It's a page on the platform, LinkedIn, that represents you and essentially your business. It's essentially a one-page website. You got your little top image banner at the top here, your profile picture, and then some more information about yourself. And the core thing we want to do is when people see your profile is we want them to learn more about you and eventually, have a conversation with you and eventually have that lead to business, especially if we're talking about this in relation to generating more business online, more leads, and more sales, obviously. Now, the cool thing about LinkedIn is your LinkedIn profile really doesn't have that many things you can do. I mean, a website is limitless. You can add more pages, you talk about all the different things, but there's really just a limited amount of space here. And so it forces you to get really to the point. Now, the main thing we need to do with our LinkedIn profile, if we want to convince people to take some initial next step to working with us, the core thing we need to do is build trust. There's really no way around it. You need to build trust. Everyone's business, in essence, really is about providing value in some way or another. That's the point of having a business. What you need to do is establish trust around the idea that you can, of course, deliver that value, and of course that value is important enough for that person, for them to want to actually talk to you and take some kind of action. So there's really a few ways we can do this in terms of building trust. And like I said, this really depends on, like I said before, where you are in your journey and how established you are and whatnot. So it really comes down to what I essentially see as three main things. So what I see as the three key ways you can build trust and get people to want to actually take some next course of action is you either need to have a lot of credibility, so you can leverage case studies, big brands that you've worked with. You're focusing on something quite specific, and this is what a lot of new businesses do. They focus on a specific niche or a specific industry or a specific area, and they basically make out that that's all they do and that's what they're specialists in. And that helps build a lot of, credibility as well, in that when people look at your profile, they say, okay, well, this person is obviously very good at what they do because that's the one thing that they do. Whereas you don't need to niche if you've been around for a long time, you've helped a lot of people in a lot of different industries. But where you may have trouble is when you actually reach out to people, that initial messaging is a little broad and it's hard to get people's attention sometimes. So you need to have more of the attention, lean more on an education component to your lead generation. So that's why niching can be really, really powerful. And the last one, which doesn't get talked about that much, but just likability. So the truth is you don't even need a lot of credibility. You don't need to niche. If you're making an effort to put yourself out there on platforms like LinkedIn and post a lot of videos, and people start to resonate with who you are as a character, and they like what you put out and they like you, and that can tend to have people gravitating towards you as well, regardless of whether you're niching or whether you're credible in your industry. This is obviously really powerful and a great way to get started, but obviously there's problems associated with that where people can get out there, post whatever say whatever they want essentially, and have people coming to work with them, despite the fact that they know nothing about what they're actually talking about. But as far as lead generation goes, these are really the three key things you need to establish with your profile in order to generate leads. Now, one thing that's also really important is a market need. So a lot of people start a business and they get really upset because they think, oh, lead generation doesn't work. But if there isn't the market need for your service, or the problem isn't big enough, or the competition is so high that it's hard to stand out from the other people you're competing with, you're gonna have a really tough time. So these are the things you really need to build on. Now, the cool thing is you don't need to do all three. If you do all three, it'll be better. But you really just need to build up one of these areas in order to start having people look at your profile and trusting you enough to want to take some initial next step. And so in essence, we can do this if we just look at the 80-20 principle and only focus on the 20% of the work we can do on our profile that are going to generate 80% of the results. We'll come back to our profile image, our background image, and then our about section. And then you also have under your image, you have what's called your headline on LinkedIn. Now, if you treat your LinkedIn profile a bit like a funnel, or a funnel where people land on and it funnels them towards some discernible course of action, which is what we want them to do, to download a resource, to learn more about us, to actually call us. The first step on that funnel is generally your headline here. So we want a headline that calls out your audience, identifies their problem, and is interesting enough that it's going to make people want to click on it. So your headline follows you around everywhere you go on LinkedIn as you comment and like people's stuff and post. People will see that. So as people see it, they inherently click on it, and when they click on it, they land on your page. So that's the first step in the funnel, and that's why it really needs to be optimized. Now I'll provide a link to a template for writing your about section under this video. But the main thing is, like I said, call your audience out, identify your audience, identify the problem, and then have people land on your page. Not what you do, that's not the focus, it's the problem that you solve. A plumber doesn't tell you about his qualifications or the tools that he uses to fix your toilet. You know that the plumber fixes that toilet, he solves a problem. So we really want to identify the problem, the solution we provide, not the tools that we use, not the qualifications that we have, and not the services we provide in endless detail. And that's really important down in the about section too. So the first thing, once people click on the headline, is they end up on your page. First thing they see is your profile picture. I cannot overemphasize how important it is to have a good quality profile picture here. For so long, I didn't believe this, but it is absolutely essential, and people really quite judgmental. And the first thing they see here, if it doesn't look professional or give off that professional vibe, or that you are, an expert at what you do, they're not gonna continue to read any further. You only have like 2 or 3 seconds of people's attention at any one time, especially in this outbound world where we're reaching out to people who don't know us yet, and they don't trust us yet. So get a profile picture that is, bit of a smile, looks open and friendly, gets people to lower their guards, because people's guards are up when it comes to lead generation and marketing these days online, and rightly so. Background image. If you're familiar with the term above the fold is gold, referring to the old days where we used to sell newspapers, and that above the fold section was the only thing that would show. So that's your core real estate. And that's what shows when people land on the page. So there's a lot you can do with this, but really we just want it to look nice and clean. If we can build any credibility from it by leveraging brand names that you've worked with, or have a picture of you talking in front of a big audience, that all helps to build credibility, and people will inherently want to learn more. Now the about section, I can go on and on for another hour or so about this. So I'll put a template that you can leverage and use under this video. But essentially what we want to do is convince people of the problem we solve and help bring that problem up to the surface, build credibility around this idea that we can solve that problem for them, and then basically get them to take some course of action, whether that's to book a call, to learn more, or a lot of this mainly helps as you start to reach out to people, then they'll check out your profile and that'll help them make the decision whether they continue to engage or talk to you. So include some examples of good profiles as well that you can have a look at. But the profile, similar to how your components to building trust, your profile on its own isn't going to generate you a ton of leads or do anything that amazing for you. You really need to connect your LinkedIn profile with some kind of campaign that drives engagement and drives traffic to it. I see this all the time. People focus too much on the assets, whether that's content or whether that's the website or whether that's their profile, and they put no effort into traffic. It's like setting up shop in the middle of the desert. You can set up the best shop in the world, but if there's no way for people to be forced through it or see it, then it's not going to do anything for you. So in summary, what you need to do is focus on those three key areas: credibility, likability, and or niching or expertise, focusing in on a certain thing in order to build credibility and trust on your profile. And you're going to have a lot more success in terms of when you reach out to people actually engaging with you, because people, as you reach out to connect with people and start conversations, people will check your profile. And if it doesn't click with them, doesn't resonate, and it doesn't resonate fast, like in the first couple of seconds, you'll never hear from them again. So that's it for In the Kitchen with B2B Leads today. I hope you've learned something. I'll provide the recipe below, and I look forward to seeing some photos or screenshots of your LinkedIn profiles, recipes that you've prepared as well. As always, I'm Ryan Caswell from b2bleads.com, and have a great day. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Hope you got some value out of that video. If there's anything you want to learn or see me cover, just feel free to leave it in the comments. I'm always checking those out, looking for new ideas and ways I can help you out further. Thanks again. Have a good day. Cheers.